Hello everybody, and this is Chaos with Chaos Esports Productions, bringing you another Bronze to Masters League Series game. This is a PvZ, and I've been looking at all of your comments, getting some really good feedback. We're going to be doing all of the stops. Graphics are at high, ultra, whatever it's called. We're looking at my camera, and we're going to be discussing my build orders. In the previous episodes I've been doing mainly just kind of overview of the games, how they've been going, but today we're going to be looking at a PvZ. I'm going to walk through the build and kind of give you a feel for how to execute it and kind of some of the timings that you should look for. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and get things started. I hope you guys have been enjoying this series. I know I've had a lot of fun doing this, setting up hotkeys right here, F1 and F2. Been trying to play a little bit more with those hotkeys, but I haven't been quite successful. I know they're really useful in the late game when you have like 3 or 4 bases and you're dealing with drops and things of that nature. But anyways, this game is actually kind of an interesting game. So when we spawned into this game, it was a Protoss versus random, and I know when I get into a random game, I'm just like, oh gosh, another guy who's looking to cheese or just fooling around with a race, doing some weird stuff. And so I try to approach every matchup relatively the same, especially now with the more successful build order that Naniwa has presented for PvZ. It pretty much aligns with a PvP build that I use, and then also very similar to the PvT. The only main difference is the expo timing for the most part. So anyways, we got our pylon down at 9, and we're going to be getting our gateway down at 13, and then we're just going to be scouting around our base because, obviously, with our opponent being random, we don't know what he is, and we don't want to deal with any proxy gates or things of that nature. So, going to be scouting around for racks, gates, any shenanigans whatsoever. Obviously, then we are going to go immediately scout our opponent's base, checking up on our probe, kind of going back and forth between just chrono boosting out probes and, you know, kind of what our probe is doing. We see that he gets cut up a little bit, so we're going to fix that. Not going to see anything, and we feel pretty comfortable to just go check out our opponent's base at this point. So the assimilator came down at 14, and the pylon came down at 15. And we're going to be immediately getting into our cybernetic score. Meanwhile, we are going to get our zealot up immediately because obviously we don't know what our opponent is yet, and we come in and we spot an expansion from our Zerg player, and we walk in and see the spawning pool is done. Now, at this point, we haven't seen any lings out on the field, and since we more or less walk straight across the map, we're pretty comfortable to cancel the zealot and immediately go for an expansion. By canceling the zealot, it gives us an extra 100 minerals, so we can actually get the Nexus down even faster. Also going to be chrono boosting out more probes and getting warp gate. Now, I know in Naniwa's build, he tends to be more focused on getting the mothership core out earlier, but I was a little bit behind in probes, and his build kind of specifies that there are 16 probes on minerals and then 3 in gas. So we waited until we got our 16 probes out on, you know, mining minerals, and then immediately got our mothership core. So probes just kind of chilling down toward his third, because we're going to go in probably in about a minute now and check to see if he's taking a third. If he's taking a third, as we see the probe kind of, or I guess the drone, making his round, we're going to go ahead and build a pylon down here because we're going to put on a little bit of aggression because we're pretty confident that he's going to be putting down a third expansion. And then we're going to continue getting our wall up. We're going to get a gate. We got a gateway in the main, another gateway down here to start walling off, and a forge. Now, I'm going to pause for a sec and talk about this wall. This wall is actually incorrect. This pylon should actually be a little bit closer towards the Nexus, because by having this pylon so close to the ramp, we're not actually going to be able to put a nice gateway here and then have only 1 unit square between the pylon that we'll place here and getting in. So a little bit of mistake there, but no big deal. We'll see a little bit later how that affects our build and how our wall becomes this kind of weak wall that could easily be, banely busted. But other than that, we're going to continue on getting probes. We come in, we scout the third, which we kind of already knew that was there. So we know we want to put on some pressure. So we're going to be getting down our fourth, I believe that's our fourth. Yeah, that's our fourth gateway, and basically go for a little bit of four gate pressure. Now our opponent is just simply droning up, which is, I guess, okay in his perspective, because obviously he wants to get on 60 drones as quick as possible. And if we look at the units tab, he's at 34. So he's getting closer. So basically at this point, we are just focusing on chrono boosting out our probes and getting our warp gate. I think I spent a total of 2 chrono boosts on the warp gate research overall. So just to get it out a little bit quicker so we can get our 4 gate pressure up and running. Now we are going to send our mothership core over towards his third, and basically just send our last probe in, complete the wall off, and then start warping in units down toward his third, because we're gonna pressure this third. Now at this point we actually have 5 gates up. I'm gonna put myself on busy. I forgot to do that. So anyways, basically at this point we're going to do 2 warp-in rounds and then walk into his third. Basically the only point of this pressure is to either take out his third or take out a queen and a whole bunch of lings and then immediately time warp out. Now, we walk in and he actually immediately GG's, and we're going to discuss a little bit why he GG's. So if we look at everybody and the units tab, we notice that he's got 3 queens out and he's got 4 lings. He's got 19 larvae sitting in the bank and enough minerals to pop out. I believe that's what, 16, so 32 zerglings. So 32 zerglings that don't have speed against this army. Yes, they can win, but it's going to be really difficult because I've got time warp, I can back up, micro, and then I'm going to have plenty of warp-ins to deal with anything, to deal with any extra lings that he might pop out. Now, he still has a minute on his speed, which is, honestly, in my opinion, the speed is really late. Probably should be done closer to the 6-minute, 7-minute mark, just from a defensive standpoint. And basically, this build is designed to deal with any early aggression, and then if there is no early aggression, kind of capitalize on, the greediness of the Zerg player. If he goes too greedy, he's going to immediately lose like this. So, just a really good example of how this build works and how it can really easily win you a game. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you liked it, feel free to like the video on YouTube. Feel free to share with your friends on Facebook and Twitter. Also, if you want to reference this for later, feel free to favorite it. Also, if you want to see me play these games live, check me out on twitch.tv. I stream there. I've been streaming about every other day-ish, whether it be team games, some League of Legends, things of that nature. So feel free to check me out there. Also, feel free to add me on your StarCraft account. If you've got any questions, feel free to shoot me a little note like my buddy did. My character code is 1236, fairly easy to remember. Yeah, and if you guys have any questions about the build or anything about any of the other games, feel free to leave comments in the section below. Also, feel free to tweet at me if you feel like messaging me that way too. That's fine as well. All the links in the description. Also, some pro player streams. Feel free to check those guys out. I get a lot of my builds from them, and they appreciate the viewership. So, anyways, I will see you guys in the next game.